That was the first thing we noticed. Something no one could explain. In our small village in Chad, where traditions are sacred, this was not just strange, it was terrifying. My name is Salma, and I'm here to tell you the story of Aisha, the girl whose life became a cautionary tale for our entire community. Aisha was not like other girls in our village. While most of us were preparing for marriage, learning to cook, and honoring our families, she would wander the desert edge, talking to herself or humming songs no one recognized. Her father had died when she was young, and her mother, Miriam, struggled to keep her in line. People often said Aisha has too much freedom. It will bring trouble. But no one imagined the kind of trouble that would come. One morning, Aisha's robes didn't fit quite well. Her stomach had started to swell, and it was long before the whispers began. She's pregnant, they said. But who is the father? In our village, a girl becoming pregnant before marriage is the ultimate shame. Mariam demanded answers, but Aisha said nothing. She only looked down, silent and stubborn. It wasn't until the sheikh was called to intervene that Aisha finally spoke. She said the baby was not human. It belonged to a man who came to her at night, a man with glowing eyes who called himself Malik. She said he wasn't like us, that he was a jinn. In our culture, jinns are more than stories. They are part of life. They are spirits made of smokeless fire, unseen but powerful, capable of interfering in human lives. When Aisha claimed one had visited her, no one believed her. They said she was lying to cover her shame. I'll never forget the look in her mother's eyes that day. It was a mix of rage and despair. You have brought dishonor to this family, Mariam cried, pulling at her scarf. And now you're blaming the jinn? But I believed Aisha. I didn't want to, but there was something in her eyes, a truth that chilled me to my bones. As her belly grew, strange things began to happen. The chickens stopped laying eggs at night. The village dogs howled at nothing. Their cries echoed through the still air. Once, I visited Aisha, and the air in her room was so cold I could see my breath. Even though it was the peak of dry season, when I asked her how she was feeling, she only said, "He's watching." "Who?" I asked. She turned to the window. "Malik." When the baby finally came, it was not a normal birth. The midwife said it was too quick, too quiet. The baby didn't cry when it was born. It just opened its wide, dark eyes and looked at everyone as if it knew us. The strangest thing was what happened when they held it up to the lamp. It had no shadow. The midwives ran out of the house, screaming about curses and evil spirits. The sheikh came the next day to perform prayers, but even he looked uneasy. "This is not normal," he whispered to Mariam. "The child is not of this world." After the birth, the village began to shun Aisha and her baby. No one wanted to be near them. Her own mother stopped speaking to her, except to tell her to stay inside. I was the only one who dared visit her, though every time I left her house, I felt as if something was watching me. One night, I stayed late, helping her put the baby to sleep. As I was about to leave, I saw something outside the window, a figure standing under the Baobab tree. He was tall, dressed in white robes, and his eyes glowered faintly in the dark. I froze. "Aisha," I whispered. "There's someone outside." She didn't even look. "It's him," she said. "Who?" "Malik. He's come for the baby. I begged her to live with me, to come to my family's house, but she refused. He won't hurt me," she said. "He loves me." I didn't understand how she could say that. How could she call this love? But she was calm, almost peaceful, as if she had accepted her fate. I left that night, but couldn't sleep. I kept seeing those glowing eyes. The next morning, Aisha and the baby were gone. We found her a week later by the edge of the river, her body floating face down in the water. The baby was nowhere to be found. Someone said Malik had taken it. Others said it had never been a baby at all, but something else, something unnatural. Even now, years later, people say they see a figure standing by the baobab tree at night, watching. Some hear a baby crying near the river, and sometimes When the wind is quiet, you can hear a voice whispering, "She was mine." I don't know if Aisha's story was a curse or a warning, but I'll tell you this, I never walk alone at night, and I never look at the baobab tree. Some things are better left unseen.